other side of this brick wall is our machine shop. We do have mass-produced steel wheels and OEM production wheels, but that's not what happens here. But when it comes to one-off parts, he's just got a gift for it.
So JD is like a true craftsman. He can build anything.
JD's the guy.
Shoot.
The Cobra Tire Machine Shop is where pretty much any of the specialized one-off wheels are manufactured. And this is the guy that does it, JD Scott.
If you could just sort of give us a little bit of history about yourself, what got you into machining, or what landed you here? Where did it all start?
Okay, well, first of all, I'm a car guy from day one in my life. My dad was into old cars, and I was brought up in them as 9 years old, down in the garage, helping him, holding stuff while he welded, using a cutting torch, so I learned all that in-house. And then on top of that, my dad owned a job shop, machine shop, fabrication shop for several years. And so I worked in there from probably 12, 13 years old on up, just learning how to do things. So that's basically how I've learned the trade. You had 3 old guys that worked when they were in their 70s that for some reason kind of took me in, and that really paid off in years down the road for me, and so that really helped me out, down the road and to do things that I do that.
So you were almost born into it.
I was, yeah. My dad was into street rods from, like I said, before I was even born.
So your position here is build like one-off custom wheels for Coker. Can you sort of take us through that process?
I can. And when I started off, I started building just the vintage, what we call the stand wheel reels. They're for the old model cars, the teen model cars, up into the 20 model cars. And basically that's all we did. But as time has went on, we have built machinery to do road rims with now for, street rods, muscle cars, rat rods, things like that. But anyway, this is what we start with, and then here's a finished product of what they look like when you're completely done, ready for the customers. And this is ready for them to make a wood wheel that goes on the inside of this thing.
And you're telling us that this is a 3-piece wheel, right?
Right. Well, it's actually a 4-piece. Yeah, so you have the rim, the 2 side rings, and then a lock ring that lays on there. And then your flat tube and your tire all don't sit right in here.
Yeah.
And they can take and make the wood spoke wheel to whatever diameter my inside diameter turns out, which is all within probably 10, 15, 20 thousandths. It doesn't really seem to matter there because they're going to make the wood wheel to fit the idea of the wheel. But I have a specific ID finish that I usually try to keep them at, and that pretty much all fall right here within 10, 20 thousandths of that. This right here is the start of my stand wheel rim. This is a blank, a hot roll blank that I use that actually starts off as a 1x4 flat bar. It's rolled, and then it's welded, and then after it's rolled, welded, and tested, make sure there's no cracks in the weld or anything, then it goes to a heat treat shop, and they do an annealing process, which relieves the stress from where it was rolling. And then after then it comes in-house, and we're ready to machine it.
Now, after the annealing process and after welding it, how true is it?
They're usually pretty true. They're within 16, sometimes they're an 1/8 inch, but I have a little meat that I can clean up on them, so you want them as round as you can get them. The machine that I use to turn my stand wheel rims for the pre-1925 style cars, the wood spoke wheel cars, is a 1953 Monarch T-Lake. It's an old machine. It has a big capacity on it. It's 48-inch capacity, but it does a great job. It's not a CNC or anything, but it does real well, and it's got all carbide tooling on it, and it does a really nice job still, actually.
So now this machine will take that solid blank, They'll chop it up on these jaws here, and then there's a cutting tool right in the back here that will follow the template, and we'll cut the inside and the outside.
I cut all the outsides first. If I'm doing a set of rims, what I will do is I will set up and I will cut all the outsides first. And then I will set up and do all the insides, at one time.
What's the next step of the process? After this comes here, we do the outside and the inside.
Okay.
Where do we go from here?
Okay. Then we go over here to this other lathe.
That.
All the bare rims to the rims that I do over on the Monarch, they're a 4-inch wide blank. And that's basically just the rim itself. Now, when I come over here to this machine, I do it with a 6-inch wide blank, 1-inch thick. But in that process, I can get the side rings. And the side rings, as you can see right here, I can get like 9 to 10 of them off each blank, off each 6-inch wide blank. And all of that's manufactured over here, where I do all the face profiling, the radius profiling.
Which is where the actual tire is seated.
Right, it's where the actual tire would set right here. And then I part them off.
And this is the very outside diameter of the wheel. This is
Right,
the major diameter of the.
right. Like if it's a 27-inch rim that we're doing, then the ID here would be a little over 27 inches and just sort of slide on there. Yeah, my lock ring, will work under it and everything. So my lock ring is like an L shape. It's got like an interlock on it, that fits against the side to keep it from popping off. But it also has a step in it that goes underneath here that interlocks it.
Okay.
So it doesn't, come out of there, just blow right off.
It's a very complicated wheel. There's a lot of pieces.
It is. This is my machining process I just told you about on my machine rims. But then I also do another process of roll rims for, like I was telling you, for street rods, rat rods, muscle cars, things like that.
Cool. Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Okay. But basically the process of the roll rim is the sheet metal. It starts with a 4-foot by 10-foot piece of sheet metal. It comes through by shear. I shear it to a determined width, a determined length, just like you see right here. And all that's been predetermined in order to get the size right on it. And then I stick it in this machine here and I roll it into a round circle, as you can see right here. And then we take it back and then we weld it all. We do all of it with a TIG wheel. And then we grind it all nice and smooth while it's all good and flat, because once it's got all the contours, you can't get a good grind though. So we grind it all nice there. And then we do our own little annealing process on the rim itself, on the hoop itself.
And you use TIG welding because it's less break.
Well, and also it's a more flexible weld.
Right.
I would love to be able to do a MIG weld, but a MIG weld's so brittle that once it starts rolling, it cracks and breaks and everything else. So TIG weld will give you a little more flexibility with a little more. Yeah, I've had the ESOB engineers in here working with me on this in order to try to find the quickest and most precise process to do it. And basically still always went back to the TIG weld, Then basically this would go into this machine right here, and you would stick this in here. And basically what this does,
keeps it straight.
And this keeps it all straight. And all this thing rolls with it as you turn it, and everything. And then basically it's just like a press, a rolling press. If you come down and, every revolution I'll bump it down a little bit until I get the configuration that I'm looking for. This right here is a 4.5-inch drop center rim, but it all goes pretty quick.
Now, how much pressure do you need to hold on this? Is this something?
Nothing, not really a whole lot of nothing. Basically, I would press my arm up there, my hand up there, just to keep it together.
Very cool. Now, how much downward pressure is on this? Is it hydraulic or is it?
Well, it's got a 40-ton cylinder on it, but I don't, no, it doesn't take that much to, as far as the pressure that's coming down each roll, each revolution, I really can't answer that. It's basically a visual thing with me as I roll it, and You can tell how the machine's acting as you're doing it.
So do you just put this thing in drive, let the clutch out, and then just continue to like push down as it rolls?
Each revolution, it comes down and it comes down and stops like that each revolution. And each revolution, I'll just bump it down until I get to the bottom of it, till it gets a good imprint on it. And then when you're there, then you come home with.
And end result is this.
The result is that.
And this is what, 11 gauge or so?
Right. It's a 10 gauge.
10.
That's a 10 gauge material that I'm using. And that's a 4.5 inch wide drop center hoop. And that right there is a 20 inch.
Okay. Awesome. Very cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But first, I'd like to know how you got your start. Like, when did you start building wheels? When did you start working with wood? What made you pick up a piece of sandpaper and a saw blade?
Well, I started out working in a family business. We had the cabinet shop, kitchen and bath shop and showroom. And so I was always running cabinets. So I always had a love for woodwork and things like that. I had the chance to pursue my passion, which is old cars or hot rods. And I started working here at Coker in 2011. Shortly after that, Corky bought out a manufacturer that made wood wheels. And so I just started building a few wheels. And when I felt comfortable with it and Corky felt comfortable with it, we decided to offer this service to our customers. And now we can sell, tires, seats, flaps, rims, wheels, the whole 9 yards.
Whole shooting match.
Yeah. So
It sounds like you, much like JD, were basically born into the trade. I mean, your family did it. JD's family was machining, and both sides also into hot rods. So you sort of like landed in the same place, like this central hub for creativity and yes, craftsmanship. This is a real special thing we've got on. So I'd like to know what it takes to take these steel loops and turn them into a wheel. Because we just saw how the loops are made, and all the different pieces of the snap ring, and that was really interesting. But like that's only part of the wheel. We're here to see what you can do with the wood. How you turn them into a wheel that you can actually bolt on a car.
correct.
So if you'd like to take us through that process, I guess start with the block of wood, that rough cut block. You gotta start with making spokes.
Okay.
Tell us how it happens.
Well, to start a spoke, I usually start with a 8/4 thick, which was basically 2-inch thick hickory. Here's a spoke right here. It's just a template spoke that I'm working on. It's for this 1909 Renault that I'm doing. Luckily, on a lot of cars, person has an original spoke, and I can just use that as my pattern. As you can see up here, these are all different spokes from a lifetime of building wheels. And like I said, we got everything A to Z, American Underslungs, Bugattis, Rolls Royces, Mercers, Thomas Flyers, Stubbs Bearcats. They're all up there. A lot of history hanging on that wall.
That's wild.
So I can, if I'm lucky, lots of times the customer will bring wheel and I'll actually have a spoke, and that saves me a lot of time. But like I said, I had to do the research and basically make the pattern. I'll set it here, I'll scribe around it, and then I'll rough cut it, and then I'll take it to the duplicate.
So that's the next process, is take it straight to the duplicate.
To my duplicator.
Do the duplicate.
Do the duplicate. And what I'll do is this is the template spoke, the master spoke, and it just has a roller here.
So as this spins, these router bits will also spin, and the entire assembly will pull in and cut this shape on all of your templates.
Correct.
Or on all of your blanks.
And if everything works right, I should have 4 identical spokes. So now after I've cut my spokes in the duplicator, I'll actually make the miter. I'll set them up over here. And actually, these are some T-wheels that I got a while back. And then I gradually put pressure all the way around. There's no glue involved in here. It's just pressure fit. Loose are really strong. And then I'll fit my hub and sandwich the two hub halves together. And then I have a hub assembly and a spoke assembly.
All with one.
All in one. All bolted together. Once that's done, then I have to work a felloe, which the felloe bands or the wood fellows are the two pieces that actually make the wooden food. Or again. Are we ready?
Yes. No having fun.
No having fun. Okay, but we're always having fun. We're working on little cars. Anyway, so once my hub assembly is put together, then I'm gonna want to fit the fellows to it. I know these are different sizes, but this is from an American French fire truck that I did a few months back. And the two fellows put together will make our heat. I'll have to actually stretch these. It's not pretty hard to do.
Now, are these laminated, or how are these made?
This is one solid 2-inch thick piece of hickory that has been steam bit and pressed over a large butt. And
so they basically they apply pressure over a buck, then add steam, heat, and then they just let it cool and dry while it's on the buck, and it stays in that shape?
Correct. I'll have to actually stretch these because my spokes are rigid and they've got a little flexibility to them, but they're bolted to the hub. I actually have like a jack mechanism that I actually stretch these out, get the first one on, and then I tap them around and work this
Second one in.
Yeah, get the second one in. Once the second one's on, I put it back in the wheel table and I actually use these and tighten it up tight.
Okay.
And I will take it like a sawzall and I'll come up and I'll cut these till the fellow
is round.
Yeah, is round, and right now you can see it doesn't fit properly. But as I just take one saw blade at a time and pressurize it together, eventually I'll get it together where there's no gap at all. Here, I take JD's steel fellow band, just a hoop, and I get the inside diameter of that. What I want to do now is I want this wheel to fit super tight, so there's not any movement at all.
And we need it to be concentric too.
Yeah, correct. It needs to be concentric. So I'll take this wheel assembly, the two fellows and the hub. It's all one piece now. I mount it on my shape. Okay.
So the axle of the wheel rides right on this. The self-centers on the cone, I imagine. This right here
brings it in and out
against the cutter.
Correct.
So you can change the overall diameter of the wheel just by cranking this dial here, bringing the wheel closer or further away from the cutter.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the outside diameter of that wheel assembly till it's about a 1/4 inch larger than JD's steel hoop. As much as 3/8 an inch larger than that steel fellow band.
Okay, so if the wooden wheel is 1/4 to 3/8 larger than that steel band, how do you put them together?
Well, I have a little oven right up here. It's a propane oven, and I'll drop his rim, or I should say his fellow band, on there, and I'll heat it for about 15 minutes.
How hot?
Unflake.
Hot as you can get it.
Hot as I can. I couldn't tell you the exact heat. I just know that I have to get it really hot, and it's going to expand.
So JD spends all day slaving on this wheel to make it as perfect as possible, and you heat it up as hot as you can get.
I heat it up as hot as I can get it, and I have some tongs. I pick it up, and I drop it right on top of the wood wheel assembly, and then as soon as I get it over it, I quench it.
So what's the purpose of heating it up? Well,
it expands.
So when you heat something, it expands and the overall diameter gets larger.
Correct.
So, and it gets larger by 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'd have never thought that when I was learning this.
Right.
I never thought that that's a big.
And is that a permanent change, or when it cools, does it contract?
When it cools, it contracts right back, and it makes every single joint in that wood wheel
Extremely tight.
extremely tight.
I would imagine probably tighter than all of those plates.
Probably. And it's so tight that you can actually, I can take the whole, now with the metal hoop and the wheel, and basically bounce it on the ground. It'll actually bounce. It's so tight. Go for it.
All right. So we just went through the whole process on how to build these custom handmade wooden wheels. These two characters here at Coker Tire are clearly very, very passionate about what they do. They've been doing it their entire life. Their family's been doing it. And they're huge enthusiasts of hot rods. And they love the aspect that they're in. And it shows in their work. You know, this man puts every day at least 8 hours of himself into these wheels. He's not just here for a job. He's here because he loves this. And that's why we're here, because we love what you do. And we want to thank you for investing so much of yourself into something that means so much to so many people.
Well, I thank you guys for coming out here and taking a look at what we do and being able to share this with people.
Yeah, and that's our purpose. That's our purpose. We want other people to be able to see what you do, because most people don't understand, don't know what it takes to make, you know, a handmade product like this.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Dynamo Roadshow.